Hello everybody and welcome to the self-isolation proof demo stand here at everyone's favourite virtual model railway exhibition. How are we all doing this evening? I hope we are well. And no, before you ask, I definitely would not take advantage of the Twitter Model Railway Show hashtag to promote myself. Never. I wouldn't dream of doing such a thing. No. So yes. So here we are, back at the workbench again for the 51st time. I know it's episode 50, but it's the 51st because we had an episode 0. With our 3D printed loco, although only for the second time with this. Thankfully, it hasn't taken 51 live streams to get to this stage. I have, unlike been an interest in proliferation of virtual model railway exhibitions this weekend, there have indeed, James. I approve of starting at 0, as do I. I mean, I started at 0 for test purposes rather than for coding purposes. Love your background engines. Thank you, James. I thought they looked great at the back there like that, so I thought I'd best leave them. So, unlike every other week, I've done some work off stream. And as you can see here, from this shine, we have some bits of brass here and here over the cracked sections from the end of last week's stream. So this section is now firmly held back in place. The reason I did that off camera is because that was 8-hour epoxy I used to hold them on. And I didn't think you would want to see me sitting here for 8 hours holding them in place. Just didn't seem like a sensible way of doing it. Computer programmers for the win, exactly, Jay. What a glorious little loco it is, isn't it, Alex? Stream work, here's one I made earlier. I know, it's unlike me, isn't it? But, you know, I was looking at what we got done last week. I was very happy with it. Of course, last week we started by painting the underside of the chassis glue drying live streams, possibly not the entertaining spending one's time. Exactly, James. That is why it got done off stream, even in times of mass quarantine. Exactly. Rather impressively, I have seen more than one YouTuber, mostly animation YouTubers, who are running live streams until the mass quarantines are over. Fair play to them. Paint drying live streams, however. Ha ha ha. Hello, Tom. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. So, about those paint drying live streams. So, as I was saying, last week we started by getting some black paint on here ready so that we could get work done on it, get the wheels in place. What I thought we'd start this week is getting some paint on here for some paint drying live stream. That'll be one long live stream. Indeed it will. Obviously they are already many days old. They are doing great things as far as I'm concerned. So of course we are going for, with this loco, the early Craven green livery. And for that I will, as always, be using Phoenix Precision Paints, who actually do sell Craven, or did sell, I don't think it's in the range anymore, Craven Green. Are those pictures from the EB Models website? No, they are from early LBSCR, which is Ian White. Approve of early Craven liveries and LBSCR liveries generally, as do I. They are all rather smart, aren't they? Let's move that lot off cam. Ow, That was sharper than I thought. It's in my finger. Hang on a second. It is no longer in my finger. See, YouTube, I told you this isn't a live stream for children. Oh, there's people joining my Skype call. Ah, that one. Yes, indeed, James, that one. I know I've already said it. Very happy to see a Craven logo in Craven livery added to the fleet. Isn't it just going to be fantastic, Alex? That sounds painful. It was very painful, James. And it was so flat against my finger I couldn't just pull it out. I had to get the pliers and get under it and get it out. That was not nice. I do not recommend doing that for those thinking about it. Just ouch. Yeah, just ouch. So say here. Hello again, Becca. Welcome back. How are you? So as we were saying earlier, Becca, you can see this side of the tank here is the worst part of the logo for lines. And you can sort of make them out on camera, but they are barely visible in person, and they're really not visible enough for me to worry about. The other side's actually almost smooth. It's very odd. So there will be no sanding down of this one. Always like to go around the edge when I'm painting it, make sure there is nothing that shows through, just in case anything doesn't line up properly. And I already know it does with this kit, but that's not the point. So I am initially going to give this green basically over everything, but it will be getting a brass dome. It'll be getting some copper on the chimney. There'll be other brass accents on it, such as the loops, the front and the back of the firebox. To be very elegant. But for now, it'll be green. And with that all green, we can leave that to the side and get back on with what we were doing last week. Hello, Heritage Railway Productions. You did indeed miss the start of the stream. How are you this evening, sir? I hope you are well. Yes, for now that is all we shall paint. Because of course we want to get on. So, for those that did miss the start of the stream, not looking at anyone in particular there, but if you did miss the start of the stream, between this week and last week, we've added 2 bits of brass here over where this snapped off. They are held on with epoxy, which is an 8-hour epoxy, so it's 8 hours of drying time, which is why I did it off stream, because I thought adding that and going, right, now let's sit and wait for that to dry, probably wouldn't have been the most entertaining thing I could have done. But that does now mean we can get on. And we're going to start with getting on by doing a bit more soldering, because we have these bearings to add to the axle holes on here. Good, thank you. How are you? I am very well, thank you. Heritage Railway Productions. I'm not ill yet, and I'm counting that as a win. We should take that lot off. Bring this over to the camera. So these bearings have to drop through from the inside. They do fit, I tested them. There we go, so they drop in from the inside like that. And then we just want to get a dab of solder on there. So of course we need the iron on, we need the flux, because of course you can't have too much flux. I hear there's someone that says that quite often. Helps even more if you can find the mini screwdriver thing that you're using to do flux. And yes, as the bot says, please do remember to smash that like button, or just give it a gentle tap. Make sure that you subscribe and press the notification bell so that you get alerted whenever I go live or upload a video. All your support is very much appreciated, and it really does help the channel more than you could know. And of course James is calling out the flux kittens. So yes, there is that bearing now held in. Exclamation mark subscribe. You'd think I'd have a command for that, wouldn't you? It seems like too much of a professional YouTuber thing. Now this one, I believe, fits a little bit too well, and yes, can fall back out. So that's always good fun. Of course, once I've got a bit of solder on there, it'll stay in place. There we go. Now all we've got to do is get the rest of it soldered without unsoldering the whole thing in the process. And that gives us our gearbox finished. Before we turn the soldering iron off, we are going to check the axle still goes through there. Take these off, these are slightly bigger. I've got some solder on the inside of that one. That's silly. But that's going to go straight through once I get that solder off. Of course, the easiest way to do that is just with a file. I'll just clean that out. And there we go. All the way through. Nice and easy. So we're now actually at a point where we can fit the driving wheels to this. Exciting times, ladies and gentlemen. Exciting times. We can get all the wheels fitted, we can have the motor on. Tell you what, this is not going to be the most fun job ever. Because once that is in, and the axle's through and the wheels connected, this cog, which sits just in the middle here, needs its screw tightening. So that'll be fun to get to and tighten. Did you hear how I almost said that as if I meant it? Almost. Of course, if you don't get these lined up just perfect as you're pushing them through, they put too much tension on the other side and you can't get it through without releasing it. Oh, and there goes one of the brake gear again. See, told you it was all my fault, the brake gear break. Yes, I've got to get the holes a lot. So I've got the holes on the outside, then the holes on the gearbox, then the hole on the gear itself to all be aligned. It's fun. The gear has fallen out of place now. Right, that's a nice clear hole all the way through. There we go. We're in. Good evening, Luke. I hope you are well, sir. How are you? There's a lot of alignment meshes. It is, but it's done now. Still here, but the mobs are fighting me, so I apologise for the silence. No, Alex, you are the mod. Can't fight yourself. That's not allowed. But yeah, so now that that's through, I've actually managed to align this reasonably sensibly. So we tighten our screw up. Plenty of them round here. Haha. Jokes. And if we look at what way we're actually putting the wheel on, there's some stuff on there. We look at the way we're putting the wheel on, which now has stuff on it as well. I approve of done. Thank you, James. You are well. Excellent, Luke. Would be better if my J70 was in bits. Wasn't in bits. Why can I not type? You cannot type for many reasons, Luke. One of them is because your J70 is in bits. So yes, in theory, if I turn this, the wheel should spin very slowly because it's a 54:1 ratio. But we do have movement all the way from the motor to the wheel. Trying to get it to move enough that you can see, but everything I'm using keeps losing grip. It's annoying, that. It's almost like I have to actually put some power on it or something. There is my analog control for that matter. That's a pot of wheels, not an analog controller. This is an analog controller. Not a very good one, but it is an analog controller. There you get a replacement for Torpedo Car and Model Railway is looking bleak. There are other sources of gears, however, and I'll need to look at these. I'm aware of there being other sources of gears, Luke. I was there on my Discord when you were discussing it with people. And in fact, I was part of the discussion. Ow, there's a wheel there. Threw them all over the floor. That was very irresponsible of them. Whoever you are, don't do it again. Oh good, in true fashion of this controller, we have no power. Hang on a second. On that note. There we go, you got it right that time. Right, we have power. No, we don't. This controller is that useless. Oh, I wish I knew where the other one was. For those wondering, it's one of these silver Hornby train set ones. They're total trash. No, we've got no power to test it with. I have a Roco controller as well somewhere, and that's really good. But it got put away whilst it waits to be wired into the workbench full time. And I'm not sure where I put it away. So you'll just have to trust me. If you couldn't see that movement, there was movement there. Hornby's controller, indeed. I've unplugged it now, so it won't burn the house down at least. But at least we can get the wheels on this now. and move on to the next stages of construction. It's getting amazing how the old style ones with the red power knob were vastly better than the redesigned ones. They were. I used to have one of those, but that died as well. On an unrelated note, those ones were so much easier to upgrade to higher power as well. Take them apart, you only had to change one part in it. You could get them from 1 volt to 1 amp to 5 amp. Long may it rest in pieces. Exactly, James, exactly. It will do just that. Doesn't help when you're trying to turn this round and it's turning the axle with it. So, does anyone have any projects on the go this evening? And if so, what are they? We all want to know. I'm going to have to put my glasses on, I think. Just playing with my trains. Always good fun, Becca. Printing out the track plan for the scenic section on my N-gauge layout and drawing, pinning it to the baseboards. Oh, excellent, James. The shop, we kept large 5-volt controllers to replace the newer ones that people kept bringing in from their various train sets because they had failed. Yeah, I totally understand that, Alex. I'm doing wiring on the fiddle yard that need more components before I can finish that. Ah. And I suppose those components have to come from a certain Far Eastern country, which currently is not exporting. Where's Becky up? There's plenty of things to be doing. She does, doesn't she, James? Redoing Howard's chassis going well. Excellent, Tom. Excellent. Actually, most things are in stock, but I'm just waiting to come through the post. Ah, fair enough. Some of them are on the way from Belgium. Well, slightly more local. Some of them from YouTube. Again, slightly more local. Finished Wordsworth signal box yesterday, not started anything else yet. Oh, that's a good kit. I built a couple of Wordsworth signal boxes in the past. Need circuit cards for the servo motors on the points. Do like a good signal box. Indeed. Don't punch the camera, Gary. It's okay, says everyone else, we're well used to it. The joys of self-quartering wheels, aren't they fantastic? There we go, she's on her drivers. And there's the trailing wheels. I've clearly done that too many times. She's on her wheels. And starting to look like a locomotive. Of course, this leaves us with some rather more difficult parts to do. In that she needs connecting rods and coupling rods and all that fun stuff. Motor test next. I was going to do a motor test, but my controller won't work, Becca. And without the controller working, I can't do much. Hydration is important, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Corbs. Thank you. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. That's reassuring. If it would start looking like a polar bear, that might be a cause for concern. That is a very good point. It would be a cause for concern if it did look like a polar bear. Can't you find a 9-volt battery or something? I cannot. I do not have any 9-volt batteries because my smoke alarms are hardwired. And let's be honest, what else uses 9-volt batteries these days? Got a 5-volt? No, I have nothing. I know the motor works because I've tested it. And I know that turning the gear on the motor is turning the wheels. For now, that'll have to do ya. I'm not happy with that positioning of these rear wheels. I'm going to have to loosen this off, slide them over slightly and tighten it back up. There we go, that's better. and I'll worry about that break again afterwards. Don't you have a 9-volt battery in your multimeter? I do. Well, I probably do, but the multimeter needs unscrewing and taking apart. It doesn't actually have a proper battery compartment. And that seems like way too much effort, if I'm being completely honest. So the question is, what do we need next? We know what we need next. We need some coupling rods. Hello, Richard. Welcome. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. Oh, that's good. I thought I'd misplaced my spacers for putting between the coupling rods and connecting rods. I haven't. They're in the bag there. No, they're not. They're just the ends to solder on. I have misplaced my spacers. We'll have to find them before we permanently attach them. But it'll all have to come apart and have paint and stuff before that, so that's no worry. Right, can't get in there. Now these are too long. Don't need to point that out to me. What we are going to do is make them the right length. And we're not going to mess it up, he says confidently. Very well. Just some PC troubles, unfortunately. Well, that's not fun. No one likes PC troubles. I approve of not messing things up. Well, hold your approval till we actually do it, James. That's all I'm going to say. Sorry, what was that about saying something confidently? We are, of course, just removing the bits of sprue off the end of these. There's only a bit of half-etched nickel silver, it doesn't take long. So yes, as I was saying, you will notice, and you don't need to point out to me, that these are a tad too long. So what we are going to do, here is the ambitious plan. We are going to cut them in the middle. We are going to take the middle section out altogether eventually, which will then be turned round and soldered onto the back of our two sections that are the right size. And this will give us, in theory, a correct length coupling rod. And it's going to be that easy. Good evening, Linny. You joined just in time to see me completely mess everything up. How are you this evening? There's one after. We are going to start by making our mark about halfway along. Everything falls apart. It does. It will do. That is what's going to happen. I'm okay, just off the obligatory Mother's Day phone call home. How are you? I am very well, thank you. As I'm sure you've seen from my Discord earlier, Mother's Day this year, we had a video conference dinner. It was a rather different experience, but it worked. Let's not put that on the painted logo, which looks too dark to me. I'm wondering if that's the primer. Do not ever saw like this, by the way. Ever. No matter what you're doing. Video conference dinner, how very 21st century. Indeed. And I've left stuff I need in the other room. So, I shall leave you with some music for a second, guys. Be right back. And I return with my anvil, which is what I was after for sawing purposes. But it was in the other room. So peaceful. I'm glad you enjoyed the time that it was on. The idea of all my music was that it would be relatively relaxing and unoffensive. And there we go. Chopped. There we go, that's that now pointing all the way forwards. So if that drops on there, and that drops on there, with both pointing all the way forwards, then that point there is going to be where we want to cut. Now if we get the size slightly wrong at this stage, either too long or too short, it's not the end of the world. Too long would be preferable, but because we're not joining these two together with a butt join, we are using a third piece behind, it is not going to matter if it is slightly out of length, slightly too long or short. Obviously we're aiming for the right size. No, we're still not quite through yet. Now we are. That honestly couldn't be much better. That looks about right for an actual butt join on there. We have done well. Told you we wouldn't mess it up. All you people with no faith in me. Disgraceful. And so, as I said, we are going to take the piece that we've removed from the middle, and we are just going to solder these onto it, like that, to give us the slightly shorter rod than we had before. And then we'll have to do it all again. First things first, we need some flux. Right, game is finally behaving and food and drink have been procured. Time to relax. Excellent, Alex. Do you want me to put the Be Right Back screen on for the relaxing music? Because it's obviously better than watching me. Told you I approved of not messing things up. Indeed, James. You had more faith than I. I mean, honestly, that's not hard. Most people have more faith than me in these things. No, don't fall that way round. You fool. So we shall start with a little bit of solder to tin them up. Don't want to do that way round, I want to do it that way round. Why, you ask? Because when it gets messy, it's hidden. Well, that's no good. Shouldn't you cut the second one before you solder the first? They're both, no. I'm going to measure the same way. It'll be fine, he says. Hold music is best music, Tinny Mozart is perfection. My music is better than regular hold music. Sweet music. I should change my intermission music to back to bird number 3, played on a Hammond organ underwater. See, my Be Right Back music, just like all my other musics, is taken from the YouTube audio library. So whilst it may not necessarily be the best, it will at least not get copyright strikes. This, of course, is the bit I'm most likely to mess up. Code for the full, your call is important to us, Phil. Where would we be without Kevin MacLeod? Exactly, Corbs. Although I think I only use one bit of Kevin MacLeod's music. Details of all the music are down in the description, or at least they should be, right at the very bottom. I do believe my Be Right Back / technical difficulties / end music isn't actually Kevin MacLeod. Before we check to make sure that this does actually fit on the low carb, I'm just going to remind everyone that hydration is important. Oh, by the way, for those that haven't checked, because why would you? The intro music totally is Kevin MacLeod. There we go. He fits. At least you use a bit, that's all we need. I think the other one, the license on it, actually says I don't even have to credit the person. But I thought, well, if I'm crediting Kevin MacLeod, I might as well credit whoever the other bit is. So yeah, there we have one conrod of the right length. It's not great, but it's the right length. Now I'm going to ruin it by trying to straighten it. See? Ruined. Totally and utterly ruined. But trust me, there was good reason for ruining it. And that was that this one was barely on the plate at the back, so it would have just ended up falling off. We still have rods, see? It's just fitted. Straight even, I know what I'm trying to say. Honest. This looks insanely complicated and difficult. No, it's not. It's easy. Seems to be an excessive level of precision needed for a hand tool job. No, it's fine. I've just done it twice, and both times it was absolutely fine. I am, however, just going to clean up the edges a little bit. And file down the back a little bit so that it's not got the ridges sticking up. That's just so much smoother and will make it nicer going round on the wheels. So yes, now we have another one to do. And then will be the real test for getting the motor, for when we'll want the motor running. To see if we've got any binding. Now these want to be the same length. He says confidently. So there are where we want our lines we want to chop. And if I can do that by sight, with my glasses thrown over the side, there is not too much precision. There is one cut. Looks good to me. Don't worry, it's not just you that can't see with my fingers there holding it in place. I can't see either. And we're through. There we go. Now, of course, for those of you making these kits yourselves, you can actually buy kits for doing rods like this. Right, we're very slightly too long. Very, very slightly. No more than the width of this pen, I don't think. No, no more than the width of the pen. So that'll be fun to cut. Almost through. I think we're there. Give that a quick clean up on the file. Yep, those are the same length now. There we go. Decided that when my J70 is back together, I'm going to sound fit it. Excellent, Luke. Excellent indeed. I'm going to once again remind everyone, hydration is important. For mini coyotes, I presume. I mean, obviously from Alex laughing, that was a funny comment. It's got acne on the side. I can't remember what I said. I'm sure it would be funny if I remembered what I said. Oh, remember, everybody, hydrangeas are important. Yeah, okay. You have successfully achieved. Scroll back to above, Lisa. Mini anvil. Ah. I did not see that comment. Mini coyotes, yes. Mini anvil for mini coyotes. Tell you what, when you consider how small my anvil is, it's actually quite heavy. Also wildly unnecessary. I have no reason why I have an anvil. Was what Corb said. Yeah, I missed that comment. Everybody needs an anvil. Do they though? Why wouldn't you have an anvil? Just always use a brick. Alex gets to use his favourite command. There's a brick command. There is a brick command, Luke. No. Best answer. Well, that's not even pretending to be on there straight, is it? Looks like I've gotten too deep into Half-Life. How do you do? Well, we are very well, Javier. I was wondering when you'd show up. You did all the design work for this, after all. I approve of brick commands and kitten commands. Why is there a brick command? I'm with Alex here, Luke. Why not? What exactly would your day-to-day life consist of in this hypothetical, weird, non-Anvil world? What would you do after breakfast, for example? Sit around on the sofa and play on my laptop like I do now most days. I mean work, definitely work. That one fits. On that side. That one falls off that side, but the other one fits. And there we have coupling rods on both sides of the loco. Oh, I'm great. The engine is looking great. It is, isn't it? Right, how far are we into this? Well, the motor is fitted. The wheels are fitted. And we have coupling rods on. She is now very much an 042. I mean, what more could you ask for? Coupling rods that didn't look at all annoying to make. No, they weren't in the slightest bit annoying to make. Isn't she fantastic? But the answer's yes, by the way, everyone. I mean, you think they were hard to make. This is outside cylinders. We've got all this to make up yet. Exactly, Becca. Slide bars next. And the slide bars, I am taking a leaf out of several books. Oh. a bit snapped off here that I don't want to have snapped off because I want to use it. Actually, a bit we need for the slide bar's missing, and it was there earlier. Check it's not come off into the box before I got it out. Oh, it appears it has. Good. Good, good, good. That would explain why I saw it earlier and it's not there now. So we're going to use the hangery bits. I don't know what these bits are called. Off of the DJH sprue. They are going to be hanging from about there. And the rest of the slide bar is going to be made from this. Which is just the right thickness to sit inside. It also happens to be where'd the other screw go? Oh, it stayed in place, that's okay. It stayed where I wanted it to. Put that one away. It also happens to be just the right thickness for sitting in there. Almost like I planned it. I want to use a wrong term and call it a baffle plate. I mean, for all I know, that's the right term, to be fair. But they will all be soldered together. Definitely not a baffle plate. I mean, it sounds more right than hangy thing, to be fair. Which is what I called it. So it's nearly 10:30. We are nearly halfway through the live stream. And of course, these at the moment are way too long. They go into the cylinders, but only by about that much. That's all the way in. Meant to be in a little bit more than that, so that'll also need work. But that can come after we have made up our rods. As I say, these will sit. Javier has made gaps on the bottom here. Where's my sheet of card? So yeah, you can see there the gap that this can sit in. There is another one in the top. So they shall sit in there. There shall be another piece of this soldered to the rods going behind there. And they will then come down to the hangery thing, which is now its official name, because I don't know what it's called. Yeah, I mean, there is a baffle plate on the Steam logo, just not there. Right, what's a baffle plate then? Because right now I am baffled. Because, you know, I genuinely don't know these things. I don't know the names of parts of engines. I mean, I know the boiler and the smoke box and the firebox and the obvious stuff. but I don't know anything else, really. You know, for my knowledge of steam locomotive parts, if it's in a book for 5-year-olds, I probably know what it's called. Other than that, plate that baffles is what a baffle plate is. I didn't say what is it, Luke. I said where is it. Sits inside the firebox, has something to do with airflow to the fire. Stoves often have them as well. Okay, thank you, Alex. That makes sense. I mean, I don't understand what it's confused about, but it makes sense. Motion bracket. That sounds much more sensible. Motion bracket. Could we, though, go with hangy thing? Would anyone be opposed to hangy thing? The bot wants you all to know hydration is important. So, of course, these do not want to be quite this tall because, yeah, it can come out for now. Having to sit outside the loco like that is kind of no good. However, being there about that long, they do quite conveniently want to go roughly where it goes in here. So if I put a cut along there, that should be the right place, and it's all marked up nicely for us. I'm actually going to put the handle on the knife blade this time though. Well, like a damper, I prefer watching a dig. The dampers are a bit more high tech. Baffle plate is just a sheet of metal. The thingy that the slide bars connect to is the motion bracket. I mean, I assumed that's the part you were talking about, but I prefer hangy thing. I definitely like the term hangy thing. Dampers can be adjusted, a baffle plate is just a plate that sits there. So it's like me, but a plate. I think I've put the wrong saw blade in this. I think I was using the other one. Huzzah for my childhood locomotive cutaway books. Well, I just want to point out, Alex, you always say about not knowing anything. You know all that, and none of us did. See? And I had childhood locomotive cutaway books, and I don't know any of that. No, I'm not sure what's better here, but tell me. I did leave the slots in the slide bars, but perhaps it's better to drill into the ends to secure them better. Batteries and water tanks as well to stop the water washing too much. I did consider that, Javier. I'm going to do some soldering to solve that issue, copying a technique I have seen elsewhere. I did some research. will not hold, will it? I have to hold it with my fingers again. And this bit just doesn't want to be cut, that's what it is. Too much. That was a bad idea. The cut line that I was looking at obviously wasn't the deepest one. Because we want that bit as well. Baffles using what tanks of herbs, stop the water sloshing out too much. When you see people climbing fireboxes to clean them, they usually have removed the baffle plate as it sits above the firebox doors, thus restricting access. Fair enough. Not just water tanks, fuel and possibly chemical tanks as well. You didn't know what a baffle plate was a minute ago, Luke. Would have added them, but Shapeways quite stringent about how it wanted thickness, wall thickness there. Yeah, I didn't expect them to be added on the print, but tin snips, aka nail scissors. Yes, you're quite right, Stephen. And good evening, how are you? Welcome to the demo stand of the world's favourite virtual model railway exhibition. Since we're all stuck indoors. Not too many, but fuel tanks on a coal-fired loco though. Now that you've mentioned them being inside water tanks, I do remember reading about them in my L-class book when I was doing the research for that project, because that had them added after they realised the height of the tanks that was causing them to be unstable due to the weight. See, I do pay attention sometimes, just not most of the time. Well enough, good. I hope you've not caught any illness yet. Whilst I consider how I repair this. I think that's just where we want to do it, and we're going to put some flux on and solder it. And then see what more we can do. Obviously we won't be doing that up on the brass, because we'll just end up soldering it to the anvil. Darn it, it's turned over in my hand. Not that I'm aware of. Excellent, that's what I like to hear. The ceramics, I'll want them in a second. Of course, I will strengthen the joins on this. There we go. Flux. You can't have too much flux. No, no, you cannot. There's the other one gone. There it is. Yeah, that looks fine. One day I'll get myself some tin snips. For now, I wonder if I can score them with the knackered pliers. Oh, we're getting a list of links off of Alex. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. That's definitely a score line there. Just not going anywhere. But that score line being so much deeper did the trick. Somebody said it's time for bed. Good night, everyone. Good night, Paderborn. Thank you for coming along. This live stream is taking off. 12-year-old son is getting most of his lessons this way. Virtual attendance is low. I don't think school has worked out how to do virtual detentions. Yes, the kids are beginning some live streamed lessons tomorrow. Oh, I'd love to claim to be a pioneer of it, but it's definitely been going on too long for that. Plus, I stole the idea off other people I used to watch. Still, I am making up for everyone that missed that got upset for missing the demo stands at Ali Pally. I'll take credit for that. Because, you know, we all go to Ali Pally for the demo stands. Well, I go to most shows for the traders, but, you know. Can't exactly virtualise them. So yes, there we are. 2 hangery bits. Motion brackets. That was it, wasn't it, Becca? Motion brackets. See, I do listen. So yes, we can get these all soldered up ready now. There you go, Stephen. There is the logo we're working on. We have built its coupling rods this evening. She obviously needs a bit more paint still. Motor is fitted, as is the gearbox. Yours is the first I've watched. Excellent. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. So I knew a few people that live streamed. Alex the Mole, my moderator, is one of those people that live streams. My college isn't going to have street lessons, although I am being given 3 hours of work. Haha. That was just me popping it on the bits there that do it. So yes, there's a few people whose live streams I watched. It's made me want to try it. So these want to come. Convenient, I've got the drawings and such forth up here. So the motion bracket sits just in line with the end of that spring. We have the spring on here. The brackets will be dangling about there. So we just need to get this not much further than the end of the wheel, which will give us a little bit of excess to play with. And then we can get them soldered to the motion brackets and get the front ends made up for them. It would be a bit difficult to have live stream practical lessons. It would, Luke. Not much anymore. No, but you still do it. Very smart. Craven, I think, said. What's the length over the headstocks? She is indeed a Craven, and she is absolutely tiny. I mean, we can get the Terrier as a size example. Rear buffers there are lined up. She's absolutely tiny. It's not often a loco makes a Terrier look large. The model is what, 73 mil, not including buffers. But yeah, it's indeed Raven's logos were slightly bigger. Top of the hanger does pop up on the footplate, should be right after the sandboxes. Scratch that after the front wheel splasher. Yes, you have included it here. Right, yes, Terrier's a big engine. Yeah, exactly. This loco was built for the Polegate to Hailsham service and was eventually replaced by a Terrier when it couldn't cope anymore. So again, imagine being such a small locomotive that you get replaced by a Terrier. I want to cut some more of these. Because of course I need 2 for each side, not just 2. Not often loco makes Terrier look big. Planet would like a word with you. If you can only give me the one example, I think that proves my point. Yes, my 12-year-old daughter's school kicked her out on Tuesday, and it was Tuesday afternoon we got the email to say they weren't opening the next day for her age, and they've been setting her work online since then. She's had it done before lunch every day. But they were still open for the year 10 and 11s then, so I don't think they've really had much time to prepare anything. So after that, from Monday, obviously they're closed properly, so everything should be available for them to do all this streaming stuff, and they've been emailing me all weekend with details. My son's absolutely gutted because he's year 6 and so now his end of school trip has been cancelled. Fun times in which we are living. Now in theory, if I dangle that like that and keep these pressed down, I'm going to get myself a 90-degree angle. Thinking some oddities the Midland had in the 80s, 90s that were similar in general appearance: 060 well tanks, 042 well tanks, some of which claim to be rebuilds of Jenny Linn's. Interesting. Give more examples. Planet just came to mind first. Oh, okay, Alex. Well, those sound like organised schools. Some schools have decided to keep their staff completely in the dark for reasons known only to upper management. Yeah, it seems about right, doesn't it? At no point is anyone particularly sure on what's going on, though. At least it doesn't give the impression of that. There are very many last-minute changes. So when they emailed us on Tuesday to say they weren't opening on the Wednesday, they actually said, but we might be open on Thursday. And it's like, well, hang on a second. If you can't open Wednesday, how are you going to open Thursday? What's going to change between now and then? How do you know when you apply too much heat? Those temperature-sensitive clamps we have built in. I'm all right here with heat generally. See, the soldering block is Jeweller's soldering block. It's mostly asbestos, so it's not too worried about the heat. These are ceramic, so they're not too worried about the heat. There goes another brake shoe. Doing well at those tonight. Told you it's my fault, Javier, not yours. Now buried my pliers. God, look at that, loads to take off there. Because of course this wants to be in line with this. But having loads to take off is not necessarily a bad thing. And there we go, that brings it in line. This is Britain winging it and making things up as you go along is a national trait. That's true. Brakes are overrated, who needs them? I mean, if it had a tender to have brakes for it, I'd agree. Been soldering the last couple of days, so I've worked out just how much heat I can apply before I have to let go. Excellent. So all my heat goes straight into it, so generally everything's okay. Would it help to have a reinforcing rib behind the shoes? Definitely, yes. Oh well, where we're going we don't need brakes, and nobody's going anywhere anyhow at the moment. That's very true. Let's not forget US locos, even in the 1860s, often had no brakes and they worked fine. That's true, they didn't, did they? I think that one's about to come off as well. There we go. So they've all come off multiple times in the time I've had it. But we'll worry about that later. Right now, we're getting some dangly bits made for it. Because everyone needs dangly bits for their locos. Just going to try and reduce the sharpness on the edges. Took quite a bit of getting used to on TS, that did. Yes! But your train sim run with that is the only reason I know about it. And there we go. Don't want to push it too close to either end because it's just going to fall out. But there we have things moving, things fitting, things working. Car, it's almost like I know what I'm doing. Almost. Definitely help it. I'll have a go at some point to Adam. Yeah, so the brakes on this are definitely the weakest link. Now that this is in place, or able to be in place, what we're going to do just to strengthen this up. So we shall make some marks there. And just add a rib at the back, which gives us a little bit of a little bit of extra strength, and B, some extra area for applying adhesive to. A technique I stole, but I can't remember who I stole it from. New mic sounds good. Excellent, thank you. I am very happy with the new mic. I'll have to watch the rest later. I have to go. Good luck with the fiddly bits. Thank you, Becca. Has been great to have you here. Good night. Thanks for coming. As we reach 11 o'clock. So now that can sit there. It's all nice and strong, and once it's all painted and hidden away, you'll never notice that bar at the back anyway. Before I do that, I'm going to put my goggles on. Do remember to wear your eye protection and face protection and whatever else you need, guys. Just in case things go flying. You don't want to go blind. That bit went flying. Which is a pain if I need it. Indeed, bedtime. I thought it might be bedtime for you as well, Stephen. Thank you for popping by. Has been great. Good night. Woo PPE. Exactly, Corbs. PPE is important. I approve of not going blind. Bits of sharp flying metal never hurt anyone. I don't know, remember how much Luke moaned about it when he got sharp metal in his eye? Honestly, I mean, I heard what it hit, so I know roughly where it is. There's only a couple of places it can be to have made that noise. But I can't see it. That's irritating. I'll have to improvise with something else. Wrapped in cotton wool we are. Probably what helps. So snug. Luke moans about everything though, that's true. Wasn't sharp, it was just there. But it might have moved from that place having made that noise. That's very true. It's not often I can't find things, is it? Never mind. It's only another cross brace for the back there we need off of it when we do the other side. Which is what we are going to get on with now, evidently. So I want them. Yeah, so I want them coming out there. That's right. I've got it the way I want now. This is the one that's going to fall apart when I try doing this. So be prepared for that, everyone. That'll be good fun for you. Not often, only every half hour or so. Never worn any warm protective equipment. My many scars are badges of honour. Blindness must be highly prized in that case. Yeah, I'm definitely on the PPE is important side, Alex. Oh dear. There goes the falling apart. Told you that would happen. PPE. Oh yeah, there's no command for it. Millennials. Oh, shut up, I'm older than you. But yeah, listen to your elders, Alex. PPE is important, and so is hydration. Right, so that's dangling there. Wants to be coming out this side. PPE when you can have brick. Don't bring facts into this. I will bring facts into this. I get to bring facts into this because I invented not being allowed to bring facts into things. Well, that obviously soldered together really well. I'm glad I did that. There we go. Nice and together. If you wear PPE, that will prevent you from being hurt by a brick. That's true. But that's, I mean, the age thing. Still disagree about the PPE thing. Still not sure what PPE is, to be honest. Anything that stops you getting hurt unnecessarily. Ask at me. Does not include items that enable you to get hurt does not include items that enable you to get hurt necessarily. Drafting. Yeah, that's the word I deleted Alex's comment for. So I'm going to remove your one as well, Corpse. Not a fan of that word personally. Yeah, I knew that would confuse you. It doesn't show you when you delete words, delete comments. It only shows everyone else that I've deleted it. I don't know why it does that. Not in the context you're using it, it isn't, and it is in the context you're using it that I do not like it. There are reasons I do not like it in that context, and we'll leave it at that. We're not here to upset anyone. Oh, they're not quite long enough, that's a shame. To stop trolls, okay. Yep, got that right, well hey. And that slides through rather nicely. All the excellence. Oh, the slang one is spelt differently as far as I knew. You're assuming I can spell. Because I can't. Just in case you hadn't noticed. Don't tell anyone. I think I got away with that. But I will take your word for that, Alex, that it's spelt differently. I mean, they want a reaction to deleting comments as a reaction, so if they don't know it's deleted, they don't get satisfaction. No, that makes sense. Look at all you people that are all cleverer than me. I mean, not that it's hard to be cleverer than me. Right, there's no brass rod in that bag. That's a pain. Because that really is the next thing we need is just a little bit of rod across there. And they're the right thickness, so how much of them are we cutting off? I mean, at least that much, right? Gary went ASMR for a moment. Oh, I'll take your word on that. Oh, was that when I was whispering? Yeah, right, of course. Still prefer the Instaban method for dealing with trolls. Indeed, Alex, so do I. The more I look at that Atlantic in the background, the more I want to weather it. Well, Luke, once the current weld situation is over, pass your driving test, get in your car, and come and weather my Atlantic. So with them being in there, I don't actually want these to be any longer than these brackets. I have a cunning plan, sir. There's my knife blade. No, I've already lost where that mark is. Thought you're changing the name or number or something. It's getting backdated. It's keeping its name. It's losing its name, keeping its number. But you never know. One day I might actually have that done, and then when Luke comes to weather it, it'll be done. Because you see, for it to have that done, it will need. It'll be going back and it'll be having number plates of Stroudley style, which are here. I have the number plates for it, number 39. So it is a project I'm actually ready to get on with. I have the number plates. I have the transfers. Surely Weathering will need to wait. Ah, yeah, that's it. I've got it all. Oh, I know. I will. Nothing is set in stone for that yet. It may be 2021 now. Indeed, it may, Luke. Hopefully, it doesn't take too long for this to blow over and we can do that. Good evening, Lady Alex. How are you today? Good to have you here. I knew something was happening with it. Indeed, you did. Do that first, then I'll weather it. So I've got it all, Luke, so it can be done for when you're coming down. That's not going to be a problem. Still plan on getting Great Northern Atlantic at some point. Excellent. Luke has to say things 100 times, Alex. You know this. It'd be interesting if the LBSC and GNR won it together. It would be interesting to see them together. Very sore. Been hand sewing invisible stitches 2 to 3 mil long for 4 hours and still not finished. All fun. Oil fittings and tendons are different between GNR and LVSC one. And the cab. The H1 is indeed a C1 with Brighton standard parts. And there we go, there is that. Have I made it so it doesn't go in there now? No, that's okay then. Delivery. Well, yes, and the livery, I suppose. So really very different. Yeah, indeed, very, very different locos. Yeah. There we go. Look, it has motion from its cylinders. And you may think that looked hard, but it really wasn't, was it? If you think about it, there was nothing overly difficult there. The problem will be getting this to be the right size that it can travel in and out and not be loose on anything. There we go, see? Working cylinder. And you all thought this was going to be difficult. Well, I'm not going to say you were wrong, let's be honest. Also the names. Did the C1s have names? Because the H1s generally didn't. Who knows? Gosh, I'd do a motion like this. Yep, not hard at all. Awesome. Yeah, it's not hard in the slightest. I mean, it really is just a couple of wires soldered together. Let's be honest. But you know, oh, I've measured them, I've cut them, I've soldered them. That's it. Well, hey, thank you for the subscription, Deltan. My alert box works. Yay! Remember when that didn't work? I'm happy now. Yes, thank you, Great Deltan. That is awesome. Thank you for subscribing. But yeah, if you break things down, all I've done is measure, cut, solder. It seems complicated, but it's not. Now, even the coupling rods, I have measured them, I have cut them, I have soldered them together. That's it. Yes, they have to be precise. But if you measure it wrong and cut it wrong, you can measure it again. And that is something we actually do have to do because we need to be able to connect here up to the cylinder. And I honestly don't know which bits of these I'm using for that. I don't think these ones are quite long enough. No, definitely not, because by the time we're back there, that's going to be right out. So it's going to have to be some longer ones getting cut down again. As I say, it may look hard, but it's not. These ones will be harder to measure, yes, but not actually hard. I'm going to take this front wheel set out whilst we play with this, because it is sort of in the way. Forget you can't slide these wheels out on the axles. That's how little room we have to play with. Ow, don't drop that out your hand. We shall put the nuts back on the axle, because otherwise we will lose them. I can prove we will lose them with my collection of Romford axles that have no nuts. It is nearly 11:30, everyone. Hydration is still very, very important. Especially in these times of global crisis. Look at how well that sits in, Javier. Just sits there and is fine. Although it is now showing me that I've clearly soldered that in very much the wrong place, and I can see from there it's slightly wrong. Wow, this stream has flown by. It has, hasn't it? I quite agree. Can't believe it's so late already. No, neither can I. I have soldered that in the wrong place though, so let's remove that. And this is what I mean, it doesn't matter if you get these things wrong first time round. That's getting a bit too hot now. Off. It's my ceramics, there they are. Off. Because, you know, that was in the wrong place, so I've taken it off. not stuck very well. Put some more flux on that, that'll solve that. Wonderful job on it, like that. Well, I do believe the designer has a role to play in just how well this has gone. I can't be taking all the credit. That looks better. No, still too hot. Don't want to put it on there until it cools down a bit. Make me blush. Well, you should be proud, Javier. She is your baby after all. Yeah, that's much better. That is much, much better. Oh dear. Appears they might be slightly too far apart at that end. But they're okay at that end. So again, we have a part that is way too big. And from there, we're in the cylinder. But that's fine. Where's it? I'm just going to unscrew this so I can move the wheel to the back. It's good this having the motor holding it in place. It's working really well. We'll cut that there, where I have just marked. So we'll cut there, we'll cut the end off, move the end down and do exactly as we did with the conrod, with a bit behind it, just to give it that bit of strength. We're going to cut the head off first. Just because we've got more to hold on to whilst we do that. And again, what happens if I've got my measurements wrong? Well then, we unsolder and we cut again. And then along that line that we marked. And then we can put those parts together and we have a shorter rod. Just there. And that is the length we removed from it. That is the back of that there. This is going well, this bit, isn't it? Never mind. think that has connected them. Yes, let's check the front and then we can see about adding that strengthening rod. They're not quite where I wanted them. The problem is these ceramic tweezers are absolute rubbish for holding anything. Right, that is in the right place now. I can see the join. What I can't work out is why the NRM version of Batman C1 is cheaper than the standard release C1. Because, Luke, reasons. And there is a much shorter rod. But obviously the camera wants you to see my hands. There is a much shorter rod. Still doesn't really want to focus, does it? So if I now reach in here and get one of our screws out, the NRM one is still the old price. The standard one has been produced under new pricing. Well, there we go. What he's saying, Luke, is because no one wants the NRM one. These screws and bolts are so small, they're basically impossible to work with. It's wonderful. Where's my... There it is. Why would people not want the NRMC on? I honestly don't know, James. This is an NRM exclusive, but how exclusive been? The NRM 1 came out in 2014, the standard range 1 came out last year, 5 years, and it's rather a large difference in production costs. That it does, but it also makes rather a large difference in storage costs. Well, that's not what we wanted to happen. Really hoping that went into the seat, because otherwise I don't think I stand much of a chance of finding it. It does not appear to have landed in my seat. I've got some more of these somewhere. I've got a bag of them, so it's fine. It doesn't matter if we lose one. Well, let's see, Luke. When it's released, you can only get it via the NRM. That makes it exclusive. It's available from where I was checking now. Not so many more, is it? Yes, Luke. Yes, it is. See if I've got any up here. I have no spares up here. And I don't really want to go losing the other one right this second. Oh, I found it. Plot twist, who saw that coming? Whereas the police department in Rome, it's still exclusive. To realise that Streamlabs hasn't crashed yet, that is impressive. It is impressive, James. I had noticed, I was choosing not to mention it, just in case. We've only got 10 minutes left. There we go, we're in, they're screwed together. Well, that took a lot of effort, didn't it? But we did it. Please can I ban him? I'm getting a very itchy trigger finger. Knock on wood, that last few minutes go well. Exactly, Javier. Little late to the party, my apologies. You are a little bit, never mind, Killian. You've missed all the fiddly stuff. Right, knock on Luke's head there. Killian's taking fashion late to a new level. LNER late. How's the build going? It's going fantastically. The motor is in. The coupling rods have been made. The dangly bits have been made. And we're just about to try a conrod for length. But first I need to loosen off this screw again. Yeah, that can twist now. That's fine. You know what, I bet I can do this without the dangly bit easier for testing purposes. This is hitting the end. I'm going to have to lose a little bit more length on it. There's not a lot there left that I can safely lose though. I have to go now. Have a great rest of the stream. Okay, good night, Heritage Railway Productions. Thank you for being here. It has been wonderful as always. Still needs to lose a bit more. No, you can't lose any more. That is all you can lose. That last little bit will have to come with the drill. But we have motion going round. So would people be upset if I weathered an RM exclusive? I'd be more upset if you didn't. If I'm honest, Luke. Do hope there is enough then. There is, it's fine. Oh yes, I remember how awkward this was now. There we go, see, that's that tight spot gone. So now we have the sizes we need for making the other one. However, it may come as a shock to you, but I'm not doing that at 5 to midnight. Oh, I'm putting it in backwards, that's why I can't fit. Of course. Tip my from those Archimedes reels, my pin vice squeals something dreadful when I read it. Woo motion, woohoo motion, exactly. They are useful, Alex. They are very, very useful. In fact, it's 5-2. Let's get the front wheel set back on. And then we'll get that side of the motion in place with all the rods. And get a nice posed shot of it, shall we? Gonna need those glasses again so I can see the hole to put the wheel on. There it is, it's in. Honestly, the locomotive looks nice and red. It's not a bad colour for it. Good evening, Will. When was the last Craven loco scrapped? Honestly, off the top of my head, I don't know. I'll stay in place. How's that? Let's unclip you from the tripod, shall we? How's that? She's fantastic, isn't she? That's not a problem, wheel. Looking splendid. It looks splendider in green. It does. And the piston slash rods are that easy. Well, they've taken 3 hours to get done. I wish it would focus. Wish it would give us some better focus, you know? Lovely angle and all that, yes. There we go, that looks better, doesn't it? For a second. Dinky Delight, Teeny Triumph, so good, lovely angle. Want to light, I've already pressed like, very 1860s, it is indeed. That's how much it looks like a pug. It does a bit, doesn't it? Too many wheels for a pug though. Focus, more light, further away to focus. Well, I'm getting all the light I can. There we go. There's the shot we're ending on. If the camera will stay still. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Let's Build. The 042 Craven tank looking rather splendid. I'm very happy with it. Thank you for watching. You have all been awesome as always. I do hope you've enjoyed. If you haven't already smashed that like button, please do. It really does help the channel. Remember to come back for the videos on Tuesday and Thursday. But for right now, that is all I have to say. So, thank you. And please do enjoy the nice relaxing end of stream music.